Let's talk about the Jiu-Jitsu show, Who's Next?
Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it
So what is Who's Next? Well, it's a Jiu-Jitsu centered competition show produced by everyone's favorite BJJ broadcast company, FloGrappling. If you don't want to watch 10 hours of a drawn out Jiu-Jitsu show, who does? It gets pretty boring, then you've come to the right place. However, if you do want to watch each episode for free, then I will link them in the description of this video. The show starts out by explaining the rules of this tournament.
Hi, welcome to Who's Next. I'm your host, Hollywood Mike, and over the next 2 weeks, we're gonna be on a quest for the next Jiu-Jitsu legend.
But some random Louisiana guy interrupts it by cosplaying as a furry Jiu-Jitsu rat.
Up and coming grapplers in the world. You're here for a reason, right? What the All right. You're gonna compete in a 16-man submission-only tournament. Ultimately, when you become the Who's Next champion, you get a $10,000 grand prize.
That's a 4-year salary of your average Daisy Fresh BJJ athlete.
Let's introduce your coaches.
They then introduce that there will be 2 teams, one red and the other blue.
Up first, the current Who's #1 heavyweight champion, Tim Spriggs.
Ready to get famous?
Shut the up, Tim Spriggs.
Coaching against him, Craig Jones.
I love how everyone boos Craig Jones.
Ready for me to go on?
I have to admit, I'd probably be the only guy in the world with a Tim Spriggs t-shirt.
Facts.
What these guys don't know is that half of them are going home right now.
So they start out with 16 competitors in the first episode. They then have 8 matches to determine which half gets sent home early. The rules of each match are submission only, no time limit, with no points or judges' decisions. The first match features Nicky Rod's little brother, J-Rod, and Renee Souza. This match was actually pretty short, resulting in Renee Souza finishing via buggy choke. J-Rod then takes the loss pretty hard by showing a little bit of emotion.
Hey, brother. I'll get up. Sorry, can I get like 5 minutes?
I wonder how his coach, Craig Jones, feels about his student's loss.
J-Rod tries to buggy choke me all the time, so what goes around comes around, I guess.
No wonder people say Craig Jones. The next match featured Isaac Michel and Josh Damas. This was another quick match, resulting in Isaac winning via heel hook. The third match featured Andrew Tackett versus Fabian Ramongo. This match was the first match we got to see go over 10 minutes, ending by Andrew taking the back and finishing via armbar.
Started crying a little bit, showed a little bit of, what's the word?
You got it.
I can't think right now, emotion.
There you go. The fourth match featured Big Dan versus Baylor Grout. Big Dan went out there and got the fastest sub of the entire show, finishing via heel hook in 28 seconds.
Do you feel like you made a statement to the other competitors? Do you think you're the guy to beat?
I didn't break his leg, so no.
Jesus Christ. The fifth match included Mike Rakapupu versus the furry rat referenced earlier. The furry got off to a hot start, hitting a nice throw, but ultimately got tapped to pressure. The sixth match featured Max Hansen versus Kyle Chambers. Yet another match ending via heel hook. The seventh match was the recent IBJJF World Champion, Jansen Gomez versus Andy Varala. I honestly think Andy tapped kind of early to this armbar, but whatever. The eighth and final match of the first day was Tristan Overig versus Adam Bradley. And oh my god, this match was long.
Really, the longest jiu-jitsu match ever.
Adam got out of like 3 tough submission attempts and persevered to win via rear naked choke.
I should have went to sleep, I shouldn't have tapped. Regret that.
Facts, tapping is for pussies. With 8 competitors left, it was time for both Craig Jones and Tim Spriggs to pick their teams.
Tim Spriggs, the first pick of Who's Next will be
Jansen Gomez. Welcome to the team, bro.
Isaac.
Tim.
Big Dan.
Andrew Tackett.
Kyle.
Renee.
Adam.
With the last pick, Craig lays down the most disrespectful line, picking a bottled drink over a person.
All right, the blue team.
I'll take the vitamin water.
To summarize up to this point, there are now 8 competitors left, 4 on Team Spriggs, which include Kyle Chambers, Big Dan, Adam Bradley, Janssen Gomez, and Team Craig with Mike Rakapupu, Isaac Michelle, Renee Souza, and Andrew Tackett. They start the show with the first challenge between teams being arm wrestling, where Big Dan absolutely ran through everyone. He then betrays his own teammate by putting him up against Isaac, who is the favorite on Craig's team.
Wait, that's a good matchup. I don't see the strategy behind that.
It's a bold strategy.
It's good.
That was a
Horrible choice.
Why would they choose that?
The first match of the second round, Isaac Michelle versus Adam Bradley. Isaac played a pretty dirty style, ultimately getting the finish via rear naked choke.
I just let him beat me up for 40 minutes.
Yes, you in fact did. So Isaac advances to the semifinals, and there are now 3 more matches in the second round. The second challenge was bull wrestling, where the goal was to flip a bull, resulting in all 4 legs of the bull being up in the air. Big Dan went out there and absolutely shit the bed. I mean, he's the biggest guy out there. He then gets followed up by the smallest competitor, Andrew Tackett, and gets absolutely shown up. I mean, no one saw it coming. Isaac and Kyle also were not successful, ending in Craig Jones' team winning and picking the next matchup. They gave the people what they wanted, picking the largest versus smallest of the show, a true David and Goliath matchup. Andrew Tackett versus Big Dan was a pretty crazy match, with Big Dan popping Andrew's ankle, but Andrew somehow escapes, takes Dan's back, and gets the win via rear naked choke. We then move on to the third challenge of the show to determine the last 2 matches of the second round. Craig's team won the second shooting challenge, selected Mike Rakapupu versus Kyle Chambers. What the f is that? Mike versus Kyle was a pretty boring match, but ended in Kyle winning via heel hook. Mike then went absolutely roid rage mode.
Okay, it's not okay, man. You lose, you suck.
Tell myself that every day. So Kyle advances to the semis, and now we got Renee versus Janssen. This was actually a pretty damn solid match with nice back and forth exchanges, but Janssen ultimately gets the win via Kimura. Craig and Tim then get into a screaming match.
All you do is you lose. You lose and get nugget. Guy. You lose and get nugget.
And now we have 4 left in the third round. The last challenge was so boring with go-kart races. Craig's team easily wins this challenge and selects Andrew Tackett to face Kyle Chambers and Isaac Mitchell to face Janssen Gomez. The first semifinal was a little over an hour and a half, with Kyle ultimately winning via knee bar over Andrew Tackett. Kyle Chambers then advances to the Who's Next final. The last semifinals match was a great back and forth exchange, but ended in Isaac winning via heel hook, advancing him to the Who's Next finals. The show ends there with the plan of Isaac to take on Kyle in the Who's Number 1 card, and holy shit, this was actually the longest jiu-jitsu match in history. After 3 hours, Isaac ultimately gets it done with a pretty slick armbar, crowning him the Season 1 Who's Next champion. An overview on my thoughts of this show. First, there's no way Flo made any money on this because the production quality was so good for a jiu-jitsu show. Secondly, it was actually pretty entertaining. I would recommend for anyone who is a grappling fan to watch this show, especially now that it's free on YouTube. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot if you would like and subscribe, as it helps with the YouTube Illuminati algorithm.